Hello, folks. Today we're looking at Abraham. I'd like you to take out a blank sheet of paper. I will present this video and ask you to make notes. You should be making notes to keep in your notebook. Your notes should be handwritten. You should not be making notes on the screen unless you have accommodations that require that. So you should be writing these notes by hand. You may want to pause the video from time to time to make your notes carefully. You can also slow down or speed up the speech in the settings. This all starts out with Abram, he was called at that time. You only need to write down the key words, not everything that I present. So just the key words. So Abraham is known as the Patriarch. That is a key word, patriarch, or father figure. You need to know that definition. He's the patriarch of three faiths. In Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, he is called the man of faith. You should write down that he had Mesopotamian origins. You do not have to write all the bullet points. His family was from this region of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. They lived in or just outside large cities, and these cities are sometimes called the cradle or birthplace of civilization. So they were people of the day who were considered civilized. In Mesopotamia, river travel and trade was common, as was animal herding just outside the city walls or just within some of the city walls, depending on the city. The people in Mesopotamia believed in many gods, and these gods did not care about the people. In fact, these gods were feared, and the whole idea was that mankind had to serve the gods, but you could never please them, and they were very distant. They were not at all personally interested in humankind. So you should write down Mesopotamian origins. I'd like you to write the bold points in this next section on the left-hand side. Abram believes he hears a call or a message from God, and believes that there is one God, not many gods. This is a very radical belief. He also believes that this God called him to leave your country, your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I'd like you to write that down. This is really, really important. This is the beginnings of what we call monotheism, or belief in one God. Abram believes that God, this one God, gives him 6 promises. Now, some scholars will break this down into 2 or 3 promises, but I've broken them down here into 6. I'd like you to write all of these down. God promised Abram land. God says, you will be a great nation. That means a great group of people. You will be my people. This is a God very different from the gods of Mesopotamia. I will be your God. Again, there's this interest of the God in the people, very different from Mesopotamia. Furthermore, I will care for and protect you. And last, you will be a blessing to all other people. All other people, not just your own people. So these 6 promises are really important, and we'll come back to this. So what does Abram do? Write this down, please. He leaves Mesopotamia and travels to the land of Canaan, or Canaan. Either pronunciation is acceptable. But he doesn't have a child. So how can he be the father of a great nation? His wife is really concerned about this. And she wants to be the mother of a great nation. Now, maybe there's a little bit of pride here in both of them. Maybe a little bit of impatience. Religious teachers have spoken of this in many different ways. But his wife says to him, listen, I have this servant girl. Why don't you have a baby with her and we will call her our child? That's customary here. And then you can be the father of a great nation through my servant. And I will still be considered the mother of a great nation because, after all, I am the mother of this household. Well, Abram doesn't argue with her. Maybe he should have argued with her, but he doesn't. And he goes and spends some time with Hagar, and sometime later, out pops a baby. The baby's name is Ishmael. Write that name down. Now you can imagine what Sarah starts to feel. She's pretty upset. After some more time, Sarai has a baby too. Oh my goodness. Sarai starts to really be very unhappy with this Hagar. Sarah names her child Isaac. And Sarah sees problems coming because who is the firstborn? Well, Ishmael is the firstborn, but he's not son of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Isaac is the firstborn, but he's not really the firstborn of Abram. So Sarai sees problems coming, and also there's a lot of jealousy and hatred there, I'm sure. So Sarai says, get out of my tent. Now, they probably didn't share the same tent, but we don't know. Sarai says, get out. Abram sends Hagar and Ishmael off into the desert. But according to the Christian and the Muslim scriptures, Ishmael and Hagar are promised that God will look after them. In the desert, they're about to die, and Hagar sets the boy down beside a rock, crying, and all of a sudden, his heel hits the rock and water comes out of the rock, miraculously saving them. That water is the source of the spring of Zamzam, which is now found in the city of Mecca, which is the holiest city in Islam. So from Hagar and Ishmael come the religion of Islam, which is symbolized by the crescent cross, the crescent moon and star. Judaism comes through Isaac, which is symbolized by the Star of David. The easiest way to draw that is draw a triangle and then draw an upside down triangle over it. Over many hundreds of years, the Hebrew prophets, the prophets of the Hebrew people, spoke of a Messiah or promised one. Jesus is born into a Jewish family, and he claims to be this promised one. Christ is one of the titles that is given to him, and his followers are called Christ followers or Christians. And so, again, through Isaac and through Judaism, through Jesus come Christianity, and symbolized by the cross. Well, all three of these faiths, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, trace their roots back to Abram, whose name gets changed very early on. He becomes known as Abraham or in the Quran Ibrahim, which means father of many. So from Abram, meaning father, to Abraham, father of many, or Ibrahim, the Arabic pronunciation, is known as the patriarch of these three faiths, the man of faith. Your notes should be complete. If you need to review this, please do so. Any of the terms on here might be seen on a quiz next lesson.